Welcome back to Business Basics. I'm here with Angie Nilsson. My name's Nathan Johnson, and today we wanted to talk about why we decided to create Business Base. While working with businesses, what we found was that we were having a problem conveying across a management method or a way for us to keep track of information or be able to really understand what business operators, owners, managers, and leaders were really doing within their business. So we connected and worked with approximately, I think it was around 15 businesses separately, and there's even more outside of our group that we work with that needed our services. So as we were working, the main part that was hard to do was translate everyone's different information. So one company would send us an email, another company would send us a OneDrive, another company would send us a Word document. Some people would show up with notes and papers. And what we were finding was, in order to help people or create alignment or clarity, this system just wasn't working well for us. So as we had the discussion, we sort of sat down together and said, hey, what are the important things that we need to accomplish in order to make this more clear, transparent, and straightforward, and so that when we go to engage with them, the information is uniform, clean, easy to read, follow, and consistent being the really most important thing. One of the things that happened while we were developing Business Base is we were facing a lot of challenges. Would you mind talking about what some of those challenges would be to you?
Yeah, a lot of things that I ran into when I was working with many different companies is how do I actually even keep notes on all the different companies? And some people, when we came with notepads and the wind comes in and it blows the paper away and you lose all your notes on that. And so then you come with various Word documents, and depending on what system you have, you end up misplacing where those are. So we had a need for a centralized location that we were able to not only just keep our notes, but be able to work back and forth with people. So I know there are various programs out there that two people can access and work on a document at the same time, but nothing that was in a hub where I could keep everything else too. So I found that in my meetings, we would be talking about where does the company even want to go? What are some of the goals that you want to set? So I'd end up with all of these different programs, somewhere to keep my notes, somewhere to keep my strategies. So for me, I just needed something that was central, that I was able to keep in one location, log in, have everything that I'd need to run my entire company in a central location.
Yeah, and one thing that I found from working with other leaders and having the discussion was a lot of times this type of thing could be done through a myriad of different software, but what we had to do is we had to spend so much time getting them set up and configured and trained and teaching them methods and different things that there was no real boundaries or areas for them to work in, and it was detracting from them focusing on the important stuff. So when we're going to them saying like, hey, we want to help you get alignment, clarity, straighten out what's going on in your business, and then be able to share this with people, it was difficult because we had to spend time getting them started with one application, then teach them how to put things in one place, then share with us and do things. With Business Base, it really allowed us to allow people to get right into the work because the boundaries had been set already. So they were immediately able to start creating results, and the results were transferable and they were easy to understand and they were well displayed, which made it a lot easier for them to ultimately achieve the real goal, which is passing that communication and clarity onto their team and onto the people supporting them.
Yes, and part of that clarity is that common language. So I find because you don't have to use 5 different programs and learn all the different language of all the different programs, one central language, and so no matter where you are within that program, it's the same thing.
Perfect. I really found that too. As we worked with different businesses, it was nice to be able to go from one business to the other, and the information and the understanding and the verbiage was all very uniform and consistent. And as people learned it, it made the communicating with them over the phone or video chat or whatever a lot faster, and it made it so we could get to impacts and changes sooner than if we were trying to still figure out what we were talking about or which thing we were opening or where we were going. So it really was sort of packaging up a lot of good and giving it those boundaries so that instead of getting in and focusing on what font am I going to pick, I'm actually focusing on coming up with clarity for the quarter or how am I going to solve my challenge.
Exactly.